And now, I think it's recording. Yeah. And now share screen. Okay, yeah. So you guys definitely kind of understand the idea of turning in images onto your Google folder system and how we want those identified to order. Oh, that's the wrong spreadsheet. How we want those organized to class, order, and family. But we also want to show you this spreadsheet. So for one thing, we want you to turn in a spreadsheet. And I think I had a little video going over this a little bit, but this is a good, I think it's kind of confusing. So we wanted to make sure you understood it. But we want you to turn in a spreadsheet with your collection that kind of shows everything that you've turned in. So you'll have it kind of organized like this. If you can see it, class, order, family, and then a section for points, and then a section for comments. You will leave the points and comments blank, but you will fill in the class order and family of each creature and group them by class. So go by from class to class as you go down. And you will probably find that most of the things you turn in will be in Insecta. So tell us the class, order, and family. You don't have to put in like the name of the file because hopefully your file name will be the family name. But as long as you organize it kind of like this, we will be able to find the creatures. And let me show you where that is in on Canvas. Oh, it's already logged me out. Some days it'll go for like 3 days without logging me out of Canvas, and now it's been 20 minutes. So I don't know why it does that. Yeah, so when you're on the home page of our class Canvas page, go down here to resource files. And if you haven't looked in resource files, we actually have a whole bunch of stuff in here. We have the unnarrated PowerPoints of a lot of most of the presentations. We have some extra sort of keys and picture guides to a lot of creatures. But relevant here is we have a blank version of your insect collection sheet and then a rubric version. And what we mean by rubric version is we sort of filled it out with an example set of bugs. And let me show you what the blank one looks like when you download it. The blank one will just have class, order, family, points, and instructor comments, and then you fill it out from there. And then hopefully when you're done, it will look something like this. So that's, and then the other thing I wanted to show you here is how the points actually work. So in your syllabus, if you've read through it, buried down in here somewhere, it actually says how we grade the collection. And this is pretty important because if you don't understand this, you can miss a lot of points. And the real critical thing is that it's really important for you to max out your number of classes that you turn in. We really want you to turn in an example from each of the 5 classes in this course. So one from Arachnida, one from the millipedes and centipedes, one from the Malacostraca, which is the crustaceans, and then at least one from Insecta. And you get 2 points just for having those classes represented. You get 2 points each and 4 points each if you're an undergrad. And then the same thing with orders. We want you to max out the number of orders, which is 15. Once you get over 15 orders, we don't count orders anymore for points, but up to 15 orders, you get 2 points for each extra order you turn in. So we really want you to maximize your classes and your orders. And then the families that you turn in are 2 points each unique family. So let me show you how those points actually work. So let's pretend I've opened a Google folder drive and I open up class Chilopoda. And let's say there's just one image in there. It happens to be a centipede, so that's class Chilopoda. It's one of what we call the tropical centipedes, which is order Scolopendromorpha, and it's family of Pluton which I actually don't remember what that is. Oh, I see what it is because we wrote it down in the comments. It's an elevated subfamily from Cryptopidae, which are one of the red, at least the common members of the red, shiny, sort of orange red centipedes. But the point of this is that just this one image, you get 2 points for it being Chilopoda, 2 points for it being order Scolopendromorpha, which is an order that we haven't counted yet in here. And then 2 points for it being a unique family. So that's 6 points for just one image. And now I close that centipede folder and I open the Diplopoda folder, which is the millipedes. And let's say the student turned in 4 images with that. So the first one is a Diplopoda, order Spirobolida, family Spirobolidae. Once again, 6 points. We've got a new class, which is 2 points, a new order, 2 points, and a new family, 6 points. But notice when we go down to the second one, Diplopoda is already represented. So we don't get 2 points again for that. But we have a new order. We have Polydesmata. So that's 2 points. And then we have a new family. So that was worth 4 points. And then this next example down, Diplopoda already represented, Polydesmata already represented, but a new family. So it's worth 2 points. Next one down, we've got another order and family. So that's 4 points. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's confusing, but you have to kind of, that's how these points accumulate. That's how it works out to be 80 families and 500 points, or 80 families and 200 points, is by this accumulation of class points, order points, and family points. And then you'll also notice down here, so we keep adding new orders. We add some orders in Diplopoda. We add a couple of new orders in Arachnida, and so forth down into insects. But then once we get to the 15th new order, which in this case was Neuroptera, we write down here in the comments that we've reached the 15th order, so no more points for orders. And so everything there down and out is 2 points each. But if you add any new families to any of these orders, you can add extra 2 points up to no maximum. So hopefully that makes some sense. Does anybody have any questions about that? One thing I did notice in your preliminary collections was that there was not a whole lot of centipedes, millipedes, and crustaceans present. And it's really to your benefit to go get at least one millipede photo correctly identified to class, order, and family. That's 6 points. Get one centipede correctly identified to class, order, family. That's 6 points. That's going to be pretty easy to do. Go out into the woods, start turning over logs. You will find some millipedes and centipedes pretty quickly. They can be a little challenging to identify, but we gave you a bunch of tips on there. And then the same thing with your Malacostraca. Most of you will already have an isopod, so that's good. But go get a crayfish. That's 4 points easily, because that's new order, new family. Definitely go out and get some of these easy things.
Yeah, and if you have I'm sorry, let me interrupt. If you have a wood pile in your backyard, peel the bark. You'll get centipedes and millipedes. And if you have anything like ivy in your yard, lift it up. You'll probably find pillbugs under it.
Yeah.
These are really easy points.
Yeah. And house centipedes are in most of your houses. So that's an easy one to find as well. I see at least one every day in my house. But that's how the points work. And then like we said, it accumulates up to 200 points or even more if you add even more families. So you're welcome to maybe like add a new column and keep track of the points yourself. But if we see points in there, we'll probably if there's only one points column, we will blank that so that we will add the points up ourselves. So any questions about how the scoring works for your collection? And once again, it's different for grads and undergrads. This is really the only difference in the whole class. Undergrads and grad students is that classes and orders are worth 4 points for undergrads. Classes and orders are worth 2 points for grad students, and that's how we get 200 points. 60 families for undergrads, 200 points, 80 families for grad students. I know we have at least a couple of undergrads in the class this year, so pay attention to that. Oh, another thing we saw, we went walking at Raven Run this week. We saw some creatures that are out and about now. Easy things to find: scorpion flies. Everybody who came with us, I think, got a picture of a scorpion fly. That's an order. That's a unique order. And they're usually flying on sort of shady vegetation near forests. around on forest trails. We saw several mantises. So mantises are big enough to see now. So that's an order and a family that's easy to do. We actually found a walking stick. So those are out and about. So lots of things are moving around now. We had a little bit of a cool beginning of the summer, but there is tons of stuff out right now.
In fact, it's a little late. I think we're about a week ahead of schedule. Just based on what I was seeing on the two moth nights, the two blacklighting nights that I did in the last week. The stuff that's out, like on Saturday nights, some of the stuff I saw, I usually associate with about the 1st of July.
So even with the cool beginning of summer, you feel like things have caught up?
It's caught up.
Yeah, it's been really hot.
Yeah.
And lots of water. Well, does anybody have any actual questions while you're here?
I have a quick question. It's kind of random, but
Yeah.
I was just curious, where do you typically find the like pseudo scorpion ones? I mean, I haven't seen any yet, and I was like, well, I'm in northern Kentucky, so maybe it's like more of a southern or central thing.
I can
No,
answer
they're
you.
around.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blake.
But you can go ahead if you have some tips. I don't really have any tips.
Yeah. Well, the only tip that I have is that I usually get them off of beetles.
Okay.
And the way that I get them is I collect a lot of beetles. And I find pseudoscorpions in the vial later.
Oh.
We're on the beetles.
Okay.
So how do you find them in nature? Maybe Blake has a tip. I don't.
Yeah, I don't have much of a tip.
Yeah.
I don't
Are they
think
usually
that's
on like larger beetles or just any kind of beetle in particular?
I find them on longhorn beetles.
Okay.
That's primarily what I collect. So I tend to find them on some longhorn beetles. It's
Mm-hmm.
always a surprise. They're not very frequently,
Okay.
So yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, I had never seen anything like that before, and I was just curious because, I'd never seen one where they were kind of at. So that was my only question, really. And I guess another thing is like, do you expect the assignments or like the quizzes to be turned in at a certain date? I didn't see a due date for those.
No.
Okay, I've just been going ahead and like getting them knocked out.
Yeah, that's
But
that's the only goal with those. We only have due dates on a handful of things in the course.
okay.
So as far as pseudoscorpions, I don't think north and south has anything to do with it. There's actually at least one species that's associated with urban settings. And
Okay.
I've seen every once in a while I'll see like literally 2 times in my life I've seen one walking up a wall in a house in my house.
Okay.
And then they are sometimes in like leaf litter, woody debris stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Down
wondering
there.
if I could do like a iNaturalist search and see if anybody's like
It's a good
seen any
idea.
up here or something, I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, but you definitely do not have to collect a
Right.
pseudoscorpion for the class, but it would be a fun one to get.
Yeah.
They definitely don't have too many students turn in a photo of one. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Occasionally in the graduate level taxonomy class, we'll see one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that's because they're collecting, and they're
Right.
collecting stuff oftentimes in the alcohol, and if they're paying attention, they'll find one here and there in the bottom of
Right.
the bottle.
I guess I could stop sharing my screen here. All right, well, I think Eric, did you get everybody written down?
Yeah, I don't think anybody else has joined since I've got 7 people written down, and I think there's 9 of us here. So yeah.
Yeah, I get the same number. All right, well, if nobody has any questions, there's no reason to keep you here. We just wanted to make sure everybody understood those couple of things and to give you some suggestions. So if there's nothing else, I guess we'll let you go. Can you think of anything else, Dr. Chapman?
Nope.
All right, well, this is our last a required meeting of any kind. We might, if we're lucky, do a couple more field trips if we find some good days for that. But otherwise, we may not see your faces again. So, but if you do have questions, we are happy to get on with you individually, either on a phone call or Zoom or something, to answer questions. Please keep plowing through that stuff. Don't wait until week 7 to do 4 weeks worth of material. And otherwise, I guess we'll let you go.
Thank you guys.
All right. Well, thanks. We'll see you later.